Okay, we're just gonna pick right back up, but I was afraid YouTube wouldn't let me put this up if it got too much longer. So, hey, if you're still watching, thank you. Okay, I mean, this is fun for us, but I'm amazed you've been watching us this long just talking.
The fan rambling. I mean,
I hope you are doing something else so that it's not just watching us sit here talk.
It's pretty really.
Okay, so after winter, I love winter so much. Please come back in season 7.
They faked us up so hard.
Anyway, but after winter, I have Adam definitely on my least favorite characters list.
Adam!
One of the only characters who creeps me out more than Salem does.
Adam!
So we talked about him already. He's the beast.
There's not much really to go from there.
Yeah, kind of ruined. We kind of already did. Thank goodness. I don't want to talk about him anymore. Let's move on to Illea. Now, I don't know if it's actually confirmed that Illea is anything, but I want to talk about what I think she is supposed to be, because her name kind of is what clued me in. Illea is a reference to the Greeks, the Iliad, the Trojans. Now, this is going to probably sound familiar, the Trojan horse.
Yeah.
Illea has the ability to disguise herself, and also she pretends to be Blake's friend and to be helping her, and then stabs her in the back. Much how the Trojan horse was a disguise for the entire Greek army, pretending to leave like a gift, or it was a trick. They said it was a cool thing that would give you victory, and so
it's basically like a monument.
The other guys came and steal it, and it's actually the whole army inside, and also kind of how Illea let the army into Blake's house. Not going to say anything else about her. But,
there's not much more to go off, but that's basically...
Yeah, that's all I really know about her, and that I don't even think is confirmed. I just think that maybe because Illea does sound so much like Iliad, and that is what it meant. So, Summer, I have her on this list kind of honorarily because we know Zip.
Okay, so...
You want to try?
If you've ever read the story Snow White... Rose... Is Snow White and Rose Red? Yeah.
Snow White and Rose Red. That's interesting.
So basically, it was a story of two sisters who lived with their aged mother, and I don't know if there's too much of a connection here, but
they were named after respective roses. Snow White, obviously, white roses, and Rose Red, no duh,
red roses. So in respect to that, certain reasonings you could surmise that Ruby
that's
was
an interesting
Rose Red
thing,
and her mother was Rose White, or maybe Raven, since they're on the same team. We don't know. It's just speculation.
That is an interesting thought, though. She might be referencing the other Snow White.
But you could say that in some respects, Crow could represent the bear that was an enchanted prince. But
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Maybe Ty used to be a bear. I'm kidding. Oh, fan theory time.
I have no idea.
Was Ty a bear? Or maybe a dragon?
Okay. You done? Got that out of
with
your system?
this fan base, you never know.
Got that out of your system?
We know nothing about Summer, other than
that's gonna end up on one of those videos with like ridiculous Ruby fan theories. Was Ty a bear?
No one will take our opinion that seriously.
Yeah.
Let's go to Raven. She's more interesting because we know a little bit more about her. Now you can do your thing about the Norse mythology.
All right. So, as I was trying to bring up earlier with Crow, the two ravens that were actually Odin's two pet ravens were
messengers.
Yeah, they were sent to gather information and were messengers.
I think one is like for wisdom or cunning, and another is for...
It might be wisdom and cunning. I don't know.
It's like two sides of the same coin sort of thing.
Anyway, like Raven and Crow were. But the thing is, one of his ravens was lost or ran away, and...
There's like a poem about it.
Yeah. I don't remember if they ever found it again.
I think in the poem it comes back, but there's just this line like, where is it? Where is this raven? And where is she? You know, like Osmond lost her.
Yeah.
Kind of his own fault, but go figure. Right? I mean, I don't know if Osmond's really a reference to Odin, but he is a kind of a tricky, sneaky kind of god, so maybe.
Also, Odin is actually a kind of guy who searches for knowledge a lot, like more than most other gods. And that's kind of what Osmond does. He's a keeper of knowledge. He seeks more. He seeks to be smarter and know more than his enemies, which is actually a big fixture of Odin's personality. He wants to be smarter than everyone else, all of his enemies. There's actually a separate myth where he goes down to Earth in disguise.
But he is still very easily tricked, even by his wife.
That is true. Of course, the gods trick each other and basically are massive jerks in most mythology, so not really anything out of the ordinary. But yes,
Raven is a reference to this Raven in other ways. She could be a reference to Edgar Allan Poe's Raven Nevermore, which is talking about a lost love in his poem, and this creepy raven shows up to remind him that his love is no longer there and never will be again. And Raven's song with Cinder, All Things Must Die, sort of has a similar note that things die, they don't come back. It's kind of a dark song, not exactly true, but it's her perspective that makes sense. She's basically given up fighting Salem. So I think it could be the poem, but it's also how she gathers knowledge, and very much like Odin wants to know more than her enemies, but she does it so she can avoid trouble, not fight, as Yang chews her out for, which was awesome. All right, can you read the next one after Raven?
Next on the list, we have Ty. Everybody's favorite dad who's willing to punch his daughter in the face.
But somehow in a way that makes it okay.
And joke about losing brain cells because her arm was cut off. Yeah, why was that okay? Why did the show make that okay?
That's the relationship.
Yeah, true. It's one of the better relationships, so I'm not going to nitpick it too much.
At least he's actually an adult. No offense, Crow. Is Crow drinking? No, never mind. We already talked about him.
Where you were going with this.
I was just going to wonder something.
So Ty, we don't know an awful lot about Ty.
Other than his name also means dragon.
So the dragon family. Considering there are other characters like Sun Wukong, who's a reference to Monkey from Journey. What, is he on the list? You need to add people, Joy. Remember...
Oh, I knew there was someone else I forgot.
You need to add everyone else from his team as well. And also Team Coco, okay?
Okay, they are on the list, Smarty Pants.
Okay.
Don't talk about him yet, though. Just focus on Ty.
Anyway, so dragons were a part of Journey to the West, but a very small part. I don't think it's a connection, but it's just something to know about, I guess. Other than dragons are generally in a lot of mythology.
Woodsman.
Yeah. So he's basically...
I think he's supposed to be the woodsman from Little Red Riding Hood also. Not really confirmed, but he just dresses like one, looks like one, and just has that attitude, which both the Goldilocks story and Little Red Riding Hood do take place in the woods, so it kind of makes sense.
Ty seems to be very humble and keeping himself to himself, down-to-earth kind of guy. So it could be that he could, because of his humility, be some sort of reference to the woodcutter from the story where the woodcutter drops his axe into the river. But we don't really have much proof for that. We don't really have any certain circumstances where that makes sense.
But we may find out something later, so we'll put a pin in that idea.
Yeah, we'll put a pin in it.
I do wonder if his semblance maybe is similar to Yang's, because they have such similar attributes, but don't know.
It'd be funny if his semblance was just axes. He just, summons a bunch of weird axes with
them. Do you think Raven's semblance is a reference to how, the Ravens always kind of returned home and she can return to, her family? Or do you think that's nothing whatever to do with it?
I think I have no proof to either back up or deny that theory, and we should just move on.
That's vague. That's too far-fetched.
We already talked about Raven.
Penny Paulinina. I don't know how to say her last name. Did I say it right?
Penny Paulinina?
Paulinina.
All
right, she's not. I figured her out right away.
It's obvious. She's Pinocchio.
Pinocchio. She's got no strings to hold her down.
Okay, that's enough.
Except she does have strings, but now
she's... Okay, Joy,
I still think she's coming back.
Joy, now you have to do the joke. Do the joke.
I don't want to.
You have to do the joke.
No. That joke is mean.
So that's what you just said. Pyrrha's sorry she made Penny into quarters. Okay. Ow! That was really hard.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, she's a reference to Pinocchio. She hiccups whenever she lies instead of her nose growing, and she's not a real girl.
Plus, she's kind of controlled by the people around her.
Yeah, she's manipulated
But
easily.
she wants to be a real girl, RWBY.
She dies, which nearly happens to Pinocchio several times in the book.
Oh, brat. Should have happened to him earlier in the book, honestly.
He was a terrible person.
In the book. Not like in the movie where he's cute-ish.
I can't tell you who the good...
Basically,
if there's a blue fairy or anything like that.
I think her dad. Well, no, her dad's Geppetto.
Her dad's Geppetto.
But also Ironwood is Geppetto because it kind of pulled the strings, you know?
I mean, Geppetto wasn't the one trying to pull strings.
Penny also pulls her own strings, though, because she's got free will.
So,
which is nice.
It's kind of a jumbled mess.
I guess she proved herself brave, truthful, and unselfish. Oh, it's back again.
Guess who's back?
Hello. Back again. Anyway. I was going to say something else about Penny. I mean, obviously her name sounds kind of like Pinocchio.
And I'm pretty sure
What is it? Other than she suffers from having red hair and green eyes, which apparently is like wearing a red shirt on Star Trek.
It's like instant death.
Do you wonder if she's going to reference... She references some AI movie, too.
Does Torchwick have green eyes?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So red hair and green eyes is like a death note. Nora escapes narrowly by having blue eyes. But protect the redheads, please. Why'd they have to kill Torchwick? Anyway, let's move on. Because I think that's enough of Penny. Are you talking? What? Okay, Team Coffee. Yeah.
Not much to say about them. In fact, I was just going to do a summary of them because there's very, very little lore. But let's just go for it. Yugosami, we know the least about him. He's some kind of Japanese or Chinese or something dessert. But no, he's the huge guy with the sword.
Oh, yeah.
He seemed pretty cool for a guy who, like, barely talks.
Could be reference to some warrior.
Does he talk?
No, I don't.
Does he talk once? I don't think he does.
Think so. But I think his blade could be a slight reference to Grass Cutter. Just gonna throw that out there.
Who's Grass Cutter?
Grass Cutter is a famous sword from mythology. So, anyway, he might be referenced to one of the characters from that, or his sword could be a reference because he's one of the few characters who actually carries a sword that is just a sword. But we haven't seen it light on fire or anything cool like that, so we don't know for sure.
Not saying it can't, though.
You're not saying it can't. Okay. Anyway, so that might be the only speculation I have.
All right, moving on, because we know nothing. Fox. All right.
Obviously a reference to Fox.
Well, it's also kind of chocolates. It's kind of chocolate. They're all, like,
foods.
Sweets. But it is thought that he may also be referenced to all the foxes and, like...
Aesop's Fables. They're all crafty,
he talks,
witty,
like...
manipulate the situation.
I don't think he talks either. I mean, even Coco barely talks. Velvet talks more than any of them.
Velvet has more screen time than any of them.
That's true. Wish they had more screen time. Please come back, guys, by the end of the show. But, Caffeine. They have the most awesome song, but almost zero screen time. Anyway, so that's all we know about him. And, like, he's a faunus. So the Aesop's Fable thing makes a little bit more sense there. But...
Though I feel like he has both a tail and ears, which is a unique trait to only him so far.
There's a video about it, but it's not, I think, confirmed canon. So,
I mean, I'd be fine to look that up later. But anyway, the fact is, it's a very unique trait. Most faunas either have a tail or ears or some other animal trait. But he has two, so that's a unique thing. Anyway.
Coco!
One of our favorite characters
from the
team. Because she's just so cool.
She's so cool!
Coco Pamel.
She's just
reference
cool.
to Coco
Without
Chanel.
being me. We think it's a reference.
Obvious.
I mean, fashionista much. You know, it would be hard not to
also,
see
cocoa
it
in of
way.
itself, another kind of ingredient. You know, it's another.
But if you're like me and you put chocolate in your coffee, then the whole theme song still works. All right, that's it for her, huh?
Isn't there something that she's related to?
No, beyond that. She's one of the only people whose relation is more to a real life person. I guess John counts as that too, but then to a story.
I mean, if anyone has any theories, like I said, comments below.
Comment below. All right, Velvet. Okay, Velvet's my favorite. I mean, she's just so cool. I can't do her accent, but
Ozzy.
she's kind of an Aussie. Yeah.
Kind of.
Which makes me wonder if she's a kangaroo rat instead of a...
So, the fact that she is a rabbit faunus and her name is
Velveteen Rabbit.
Yeah, Velveteen
She is
Rabbit.
one of the only people who's confirmed, actually... she's like the only member of Team Coffee who's confirmed to actually reference more than one thing. So yes,
the Velveteen Rabbit's story, I don't exactly know how it relates to her.
It's... actually interesting. The Velveteen Rabbit is...
We should sum up the story first.
He wants to be a real rabbit.
Yeah.
But he's an imitation.
He's a toy rabbit.
In the end, he becomes real. Though, and you could see this as Velvet's semblance is to imitate everyone else's, but in so doing,
So you forgot the most important, heartbreaking part of the story.
Okay, getting to that, but she's...
He wants to be loved!
Yeah, wants to be loved instead of disregarded.
Basically, in their world, toys that are loved more
are real.
Oh,
it makes perfect sense if you read the book and you've ever had a toy that you really love. Get off your game and actually get a toy you really love, kids. Right? Then you'll understand the Velveteen Rabbit.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't feel that way about your Game Boy. Or your...
Game Boy.
What do they use now? They used Game Boys back when I was younger.
You're so old.
I know. I'm so old.
Your Nintendo Switches.
Yeah, that's what it is now. A Nintendo Switch for your stupid phone.
Yeah, I changed out my cousin's handles on his Nintendo Switch to be the lime green one.
Anyway, Velveteen is also kind of
just a trick
or sweet or something. All right, that's enough about Team Coffee. I put Cardin on here just because he's important to John's story.
I don't even... Cardinal Richelieu, I'm pretty sure, is the reference.
No, it's Cardin Winchester.
I know. But reference to the Cardinal from, the
Three Musketeers. The Three Musketeers.
Oh, yeah.
But no, he's Cardin Winchester, who was the person who basically had Joan of Arc burned at the stake. Luckily, Cardin doesn't seem anywhere close to setting John on fire.
Because he's off of the show. If he had the chance, he might, but he's off of the show.
Oh, I think they're frenemies. Whatever.
I think that if he tried to kill them, that Nora would break his leg. So I think we're okay. I think we're
Nora
safe.
would. The fans would. You kidding me?
The fans would draw and quarter him.
Anyway, a very on-the-nose reference. And it seems like he was a one-off character, and I don't miss him that much.
But yeah.
I have another honorary character who we got nothing about on the actual show, but he is in the video about the Schnee Dust Company. Nicholas Schnee.
The good Schnee.
The good Schnee.
Well, other than the current main character and her older sister Schnee.
Mm-hmm. So you may have noticed that Weiss and Winter both seem to think their family name actually should be a good thing, and that their father's the one who ruined it. Well, in the Schnee Dust Company video, we find out why this is. Nicholas Schnee, who I believe is supposed to be Saint Nicholas, was this really generous, genius, entrepreneurial guy who built this amazing Schnee Dust Company. Kind of like the ideal of what capitalism is supposed to be. But unfortunately had the oversight to leave it to his son-in-law, who somehow convinced him that was a good idea.
Once he got older, he's like, all right, you can have my company. And then everything just went to pot from there.
We're left with the idea that Crow actually liked Nicholas Schnee and knew him, and maybe is partly why he resents the company the way it is now.
Yes, I'm pretty sure. I don't exactly know how. We can't confirm this for either, but I'm pretty sure that at least when Winter thinks of their family name, that's the person she thinks of.
It's in the Weiss also.
Probably.
Somebody who should be generous.
But Weiss might also think of her sister, so it depends.
Kind. But he was a generous, kind, good, great guy who deserved better.
So yeah, I think that's what both Weiss and Winter strive to be like, and of course not like their parents, who are kind of failures.
Again, kind of like in Frozen.
I feel sorry for their mother, even though we don't know anything about her.
I feel like her dad raised her to be smarter than that. But I guess people smarts doesn't always translate to business smarts, right?
And besides, I mean, if Weiss's dad can keep up a good front with the public for this long, he's probably a very crafty person.
I have not figured out who he's supposed to be. You think it could be Janus, the two-faced Roman god?
I don't think his
Just throwing that out there.
Jacques doesn't really relate to that. But, like I said, if you have any ideas or know more about
if you know, tell us.
Please tell us. We can update.
All right, next on my list is Neapolitan.
Everybody's favorite ice cream queen.
My girl. Well, not my girl. I don't like her that much, but Torchwick's girl.
We only like her because of Chibi. We all have to admit it.
She's cute on Chibi, and she's the only character who uses sign language. Make it happen, Rooster Teeth. Could you just really use real sign language? That would be awesome for me. I don't care even if it's Japanese sign language. Just do it. Kono Katachi, you know?
Do you know what that means?
Watch your movie. That movie, The Shape of Voice, yes.
Okay.
You think I don't know what that means? All right, Neapolitan. Oh, you like explaining who she is, so you go ahead.
Now that you bring up the fact that a silent voice was recently made, I just have to point out both of them have pink hair. But that's not really a big deal. Okay, Joy, seriously, it's not really a big deal.
Continue.
Anyway. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just laughing at you.
I really like to enjoy talking about her character and her relationship with her boss and other characters throughout the show.
Testify, girl. Testify.
Shh. But anyway, we're going to talk about how she's related to something else. So,
to my favorite food. One of them.
Ice cream. Yes. So, she's related to ice cream. I can't really say she's related to anything else in particular that involves food. No Candyland references seem to be obvious. And I can't really think of anything for the Nutcracker that involves ice cream other than that one forest, and I don't think she has anything to do with that. So when it comes to classic literature or games, I can't say she's related to anything.
Mary Poppins, y'all.
I know Mary Poppins. I'm talking about her name.
Okay, her name, ice cream. So that's all we know.
Yes, it's ice cream. They made a funny little commercial in a Chibi episode.
So that it references her ability to change shapes, since a Neapolitan ice cream comes in 3 different flavors, and she can change her hair and eye color, though seemingly nothing else. Well, she can change her clothes, too.
Yeah. She can't change her height. She can't change...
How does that work? I mean, what happens if she breaks focus? Do her clothes go back to normal?
You saw the clip.
Okay.
They go back to her actual clothes.
Her fight with Cinder was awesome.
Yes, it was.
And I think she's gonna...
So, on the note of Mary Poppins, I'm not exactly sure how you would reference her.
Well, Neo is practically perfect in every way because she never explains anything, just like Mary Poppins.
I mean, I'd like to have a little bit more to go off of than that, Joy.
Okay, just with the umbrella and her flying off, it had to be on purpose.
I mean, it seems Mary Poppins works on different rules
just like
from everyone else.
Cinder had a Katniss Mockingjay reference because she kills children.
Someone salty? Anyway,
Shot to the heart, and you're to blame.
Don't get people mad. Anyway, so in some respects, I suppose you could say because Mary Poppins functions in different ways than normal people do in their world, and she takes the children on adventures into what seems to be another kind of reality. The Nia herself is in another kind of reality.
Illusion.
Yeah, so she also is linked to illusion, as Mary Poppins is kind of linked to illusion in some respects, even though we never truly know if what happened is, like, if she actually... I don't know. Mary Poppins is confusing.
I wouldn't stretch the analogy too much. Her clothing style is a little bit, not really, but a little bit, and Torchwick's also. And he is next on the list.
A little bit what?
Old-fashioned.
Also, if she's Mary Poppins, is Torchwick in some way Bert?
He could be.
Maybe. Maybe.
I could see him dancing on a rooftop.
What the heck, Joy? It's a jolly holiday.
Okay, moving on.
Okay.
Torchwick, Roman Torchwick. He has a pretty sad mythology. Have you seen Brave? Because if you have, you've heard of the Will-O-the-Wisp. And you might know the backstory for jack-o'-lanterns on Halloween. They're both actually one and the same. Roving Jack. Roman Jack, I believe, was the guy's name. Roman. You see, obviously emphasis. Although I wonder if it has to do with his hair color also.
Maybe. Are you going to elaborate on that myth a little bit more?
Do you know anything about it?
Do you?
Yes.
Okay, then elaborate.
I read the wiki page. I know about it.
Elaborate!
Lost Souls. A Will-O-the-Wisp or this jack-o'-lantern dude, was supposed to walk around carrying a lantern, which if you've seen Brave, they kind of just made them a spool of light, but the jack-o'-lantern pumpkin thing is from this. He was supposed to carry a light.
So is it just a pumpkin?
The myth actually comes from the fact that in swamps, where this myth kind of originated from, there are sometimes these glowy, phosphorescent, flame-like things because of like the gases and stuff. They're in swamps, and people thought they were people when it was actually the miracle of nature. But this myth got started in probably stuff like fairies and things also. Anyway, the lost soul, and this is sad because in many ways I feel like Torchwick was a lost soul who got tangled up in the wrong stuff. I mean, from his very introduction, he seems to be a little bit more compassionate, if often cynical, heartless. I mean, like, willing to, like, do dirty work, but
if you ask
he doesn't seem to enjoy it the way the other villains do.
He doesn't to survive, primarily, and he doesn't kill for the sake of killing. As you remember in his first scene, when he was robbing the dust shop, he didn't actually want to kill anybody. It was only when RWBY tried to stop them that he had to have her killed, which didn't happen,
he didn't
of course.
Have to.
Well, he didn't want to get caught. He goes through great lengths to protect himself and his livelihood and his way of life. Other than that, he prefers to stay out.
And also, apparently, he was the only person who was ever nice to Neo. Can Neo get adopted, please?
Why do they have to kill off one of the only likable villains? But anyway.
Better not kill off the other likable ones.
Also, Roman Torchwick could also be a reference to Jack, who from the Little Rhyme.
Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, jump over the candlestick. Maybe. Not really.
There's really not a lot to go off of, but there is some ways you could spin it. Also, Roman candles are actually a kind of firework. And I know that there's not a lot personality-wise to do with fireworks, but there are some stories involving fireworks.
Aren't there fireworks in one of their fight scenes on the show, though? Or doesn't he, like, shoot fireworks in the train?
Yes, his bullets look like little fireworks.
That's awesome!
So the Roman candle
That's great.
is kind of a reference because for one thing, he's one of the few villains with flair, and for another, he kind of shoots rockets out of his gun.
You know that song from Annie? Hey ho man, hey dap dan.
Okay, we're off subject.
Okay, never mind. Junior, I put on here just because he's part of the Three Bears story. That's all. He's the youngest bear. Moving on.
Okay,
something a little more interesting. My name is Maria Calavera, and I am not defenseless.
That was terrible.
I know.
I just can't see without my glasses.
And I'm a little hard of hearing.
Well, you're not.
Okay, I'm starting to see your point.
Anyway.
A well-known fact, if you're following the fan base, she's based on La Muerta.
And no, I don't think she has any references or roots from The Last Airbender. So stop it.
Oh, let them have their fun. Love you, Crumbling Cube. Anyway. Katara.
I'm Katara from the Water
I didn't even watch that, so I have no idea. But
I watched it.
La Muerta, power over life and death in old Mexican / I guess kind of Mayan also.
So yeah, Grim
mythology.
Reaper.
She's the Grim Reaper. Luckily, like it seems like only over Grim, but like she also has a speech about.
She is the Grim Reaper.
Life must be protected, so an understanding of both life and death.
So yeah,
and I loved her speech to RWBY about that. All right, time for some a little more fun. Not that Maria's not fun.
Sun Wukong, the monkey man himself. Now, if any of you,
we forgot that Maria's reference. We haven't been doing like their costume references. Torchwick has a flame. Maria has a skull on her staff.
Wait, what? Torchwick has a what?
He had a flame on his jacket. It kind of was like a lantern.
I have no memory of this either. I really.
All right, never mind. Back to Sun Wukong. I'm sorry for that.
So, if any of you have read Journey of the West, you know where this is going,
or watched about it on YouTube.
Yeah, the only reason.
Or seen a movie.
So yeah, this has been a lot of adaptions. A lot of characters have been based off of this character. So you probably know at least something about him. But he's a character from Journey to the West. He's a monkey, hence the faunus. And his duplicate, and it's actually his semblance of itself is a reference to the story, because one of his powers is to duplicate himself endlessly and fight battles like that.
Obviously, Sun's a little bit more finite.
I mean, it takes a little bit more energy, and he can move when he does it, but, like...
In Journey to the West, Sun Wukong is ridiculously OP. I mean, like, he basically, you look in the encyclopedia for OP, you'd see a picture of Sun Wukong.
So yeah, this guy
he still loses, oddly enough.
Even with the same name, this guy is toned down, but his staff weapon is also based off of Sun Wukong's weapon.
Gunchucks!
Yes, gunchucks will forever be its name. But anyway, in the story, Sun Wukong had a giant pillar that can shrink and grow, and that's what he used as his staff. Extremely heavy, very powerful if you hit someone with it at full force, especially if you're a magical stone monkey.
I think he also flirted with people and got rejected, so...
He's also several times over in Undying.
Also, Sun Wukong does check out of his story for a length of time, maybe referencing how Sun has mysteriously decided to leave.
Yeah, so he was kicked out of his group in the story.
To go back to his vacuo.
Yeah, go back to his home country.
But he does end up getting dragged out to go on the journey to the West, so we'll see what happens with that. And of course, the show references by him saying it'll be real Journey to the East. It was the most painfully on-the-nose reference ever, and yet it was still hilarious.
Though I will admit, the fact that there are, like, MacGuffins that they need to find on this journey and take to the rest of the world to save it.
And he was following
from
someone to
evil.
He was following.
Actually, it's a reference to the entire plot of the show.
He was following someone to protect them, just like Sun Wukong follows.
He's a master.
And there's a lot of like animal references in Journey to the West too, which could have something to do with the faunus. Oh, then also he's just the Monkey King. So Sun Wukong has a lot of lore actually, and since it's kind of trying to be an anime, it's like an American anime, but they had fun with that.
But I will admit there's like it's like over 2,000 pages, so I'm not going to go into all of the ways his character could relate to this character from the book,
and I'm not planning to read it. It's so long.
But anyway.
All right, we don't have that many characters left.
Yep.
I thought we could touch on Neptune a little bit.
Yep. The water, the wet blanket himself. So
he's a putz.
Neptune is obviously a reference to Neptune, the god of the seas.
His
ironic
weapon looked a little bit like a trident in some forms.
Even with 2 prongs, but it still looks like
he is terrified of water, which has led many people, including ourselves, to think his semblance has something to do with water and it went wrong. Kind of an Elsa sort of thing.
Which I think is actually a compelling thing that could bring about some character development.
If we ever catch up with him, that is.
Yeah, I hope they touch on that because I feel like that could actually bring him like a lot of depth.
I mean, he seems to need to be cool and control all the time. Why? I'm going to give him credit for having more character depth in this.
Yeah.
I mean, the ocean, right? Gotta have depth.
Okay, stop.
I know that's bad.
Yang would
blue. Okay, his blue hair is also reference.
Also, if we see any horses, he probably knows how to ride one because that's kind of a thing for people.
That is not confirmed.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, if he can, that's also referenced because being
if he kills someone named Medusa, that would be a reference. But I don't expect it to happen.
Or maybe just kills a snake.
Do we have his last name? I don't think it's Noir.
He does have a last name, but I do not remember what it is. I do remember I've heard it.
I think it's another ocean reference.
Well,
all right, and then you said you want to talk about the other members of Team Sun. I don't remember one of them, but Scarlett, I believe is a Scarlet Pimpernel.
Isn't the one who was also referenced to Peter Pan?
I think he had like the flower on it. And yeah, the other guy was, I guess, a reference to
Yeah, he was a reference to
No,
Peter
I
Pan.
thought that was Team Indigo's.
No, Team Indigo is all women.
Yeah, but was it one of them like Captain Hook?
Yes, the other one from his team was Peter Pan. Or maybe the reverse.
If it isn't Peter Pan. His name's not Peter.
I was really disappointed in Team Indigo. I'm just going to say that much.
I was disappointed in Team Sun. Indigo was fine.
Yeah, I feel like...
Although Sun's saying, yeah, he's an idiot. He's dumb. Was fun.
There I help.
Break your stupid face.
So anyway, that's all we can really say about the rest of the team.
That is the last of it. I can't believe it took us an hour and a half to cover this list. We like to talk too much.
Oh my gosh, the editing. Well, that's
If
all the
you
characters.
watched this, thank you.
Thank you for suffering through this.
You're the best. You have to do the lip thing.
What lip thing?
Anyway, hey, if you like this, be happy to do more of it some other time, but hopefully keep it shorter next time. So, yeah, again, I am sorry for how long this was.
I'm just going to make it take longer. Anyway, those are all the characters that we could think of. And their
Sorry if we
connections.
missed somebody.
We hope you learned something new, though.
Obviously, we like these characters. Can't wait to find out more about them.
See ya.
Peace out.